welcome to the world's greatest Kiwanis club. Roger, would you like to introduce guests? Or we can go around, if you have a guest at your table, introduce them. Whatever is
I don't have a list, so. Are there any guests here?
Perfect. Why don't we start with Nancy, if you'd introduce guests at your table? Or they can introduce themselves.
We have two guests today from Edna Martin Christian Center. They're going to be the recipients of our grant today. Maggie Gagline and Anthony Conlon. Welcome.
Thank you. Any guests at this table who would like to introduce themselves?
Drew Towers here from our speaker today.
John Leopard.
Welcome.
Haven't been here for a while.
Welcome back. I thought you were a new face.
Yeah.
Happy birthday again.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
See, the birthday calls work.
Yeah.
I love this. Thank you so much. Roger, folks at your table?
My wife Kathy Lauer is here.
Oh, good.
Welcome, Kathy. Anybody in the back table? Wonderful. Thank you, guys. If you wouldn't mind joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you'll bow your heads for today's invocation. Most merciful God, we come before you humbled by the great gift of life. In your infinite love, you composed us of tiny cells and gave them the power to sustain, heal, and renew. For giving scientists, physicians, and nurses the knowledge to transplant healthy cells for others' well-being, we give you thanks. For providing all those in need with a healthy outlook and renewed spirit, we also give you thanks. Amen.
Amen.
So that at future meetings, you don't have to hear me talk quite so much, because I can go on and on for days. Please let Kelly know or let me know if you would be willing to help lead the pledge, the invocation, greet guests at the front, do introductions, any of that. So you may be seated. A couple of club announcements as we get started. We have hit 102 members that have recommitted to our club this year by paying their annual dues. Thank you for all of those, and thank you to everyone that has a check in the mail. We're turning our roster into Kiwanis in the next couple of days. So please, if you haven't paid, please do so. You really don't want me calling and begging. We appreciate all of our members, especially those that are celebrating anniversaries this week. Most notably, past President Gene Cease has been a member of our club for 53 years. And then, John, as we acknowledged a moment ago, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
The group will be meeting in November to determine how to best allocate the $30,000 of grant money that the foundation has allocated. Let me know if you're interested in serving on that review committee. We'll review individually, score, and then get together to come up with our final list of recipients. Our partnership with the Salvation Army continues with 2 opportunities coming up. Be sure to visit our website, indykiwanis.org/service, for all of the ways that you can serve, whether it's a gift of time or a donation to the Salvation Army. You can register for bell ringing for 1-hour shifts, or you can take multiple 1-hour shifts on Fridays, December 2nd, 9th, and 16th. We'll be back at the Kroger at 71st in Benford. I have a sign-up sheet that I'm going to pass around. I will be really excited if it's filled by the end of today's meeting. Ma'am, I'll start with you. You get dibs on the shift with me if you want. You are more than welcome to bring the grandkids. They tend to, empty pockets faster than we do. So thank you. And then Adopt an Angel runs now through December 4th. You can sponsor a child for this holiday season. Or you can volunteer to help sort gifts. We're doing that November 14th through 18th and distributing gifts on December 15th and 16th. Chuck, would you like to come and give a brief update on the football banquet? Thank you so much. And then while Chuck's making his way up here, many of you should have seen the challenge that Graham threw out today. Anybody that's in attendance today is entered into a raffle for Butler basketball tickets and a tour of Hinkle. If you've not put your name in the proverbial hat yet, I'm going to pass around little slips. I'll come around the tables and collect them at the end, and then we'll do a quick drawing. Chuck?
Thank you, President Trina. Any football fans in the room? Pro or college, yes? Okay, good. Thank you, Mary. You know, I've become a fan of the Capital One College Bowl hosted by Peyton Manning. Anybody else watch that on Friday night? It's pretty neat. You watch it? Great, great. Well, anyway, I'd like to start the, just have a little quiz for those of you that sort of are interested in pro football. There are 32 teams in the NFL. Most of you know that. Who was the rushing champion of the NFL last year in 21? Any guesses?
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. Who said that, Roger? Okay, great. That's correct. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts. Who is the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts? Who said Ellen? Yeah, that's right. It's almost a trick question. I expected the Ryan, but who said that? Mary? Okay. Trent, you said it? Okay, good. Oh, Halstead did? All right. He's pretty good. Okay, good. And when is the Kiwanis Marion County Boys Football Banquet? What date? December 1st. Who said that? Bob? Okay, great. Mary again? She's on it.
She just passed this out there, so you know.
That's right. Okay, very good. Well, that's correct. It is December 1st. That's a Thursday, not a Friday this year. So everyone, we're looking for table sponsors. If you're interested in table sponsors, we're looking for hosts. It's at the Colts complex this year, so it's not at the up at the where was it last year? It wasn't very good.
Primo.
Ivy Tech, right. And it has been a Primos too, but it's at Ivy Tech. So we're back at the pavilion. We've been connected to the someone with the Colts just yesterday, and for a lot of additional events that we're planning next week. So there'll be a lot of interesting things to do. So mark your calendar, please. And I want to thank Rob, who isn't here, but Bill. Bill's on the committee, Bill Du Bois, and Roger for all the help in putting this thing together. So it should be quite an event, and we're still working on a keynote, but he will be no doubt a good speaker and quite an addition. So thank you very much. Let's see, what have I missed? We're at 30 schools. And we haven't had it there since 2019. So this year will be the first year since 2019. All right. Thank you, Trina. That's it. All right.
I appreciate all of your hard work on that.
Sure.
Hey, Chuck.
Question? Mike?
How much are the table sponsorships and how many seats at the table?
You know what? That's it.
10 seats at a table, and the sponsors, I don't know, what is the sponsor?
200? That seem reasonable?
200?
Let's make a
that
deal.
doesn't
Can we start
cover
auctioning?
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
So
Yeah,
Mike
are
wants
you
a table
interested
is
in
what I
Mike?
hear.
Okay.
Put you down?
Here, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
More for you.
A particular school?
It's more for you.
Mike, do you want to reserve a school?
My high school's not in Marion County, so.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Well, while you go over there and make a deal, I'm going to invite Carol and Roger
Great.
to the podium.
Okay, good. Where did the bell go? This was-
It's out front. It had a habit of trying to leap off of the podium, and I like my toes.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
Carol, would you and Roger like to join us to install him as officer again? Would you like to come install Roger as an officer? Thank you.
I said no.
Huh?
I think she said no.
Then we'll get somebody else to do it. You're not getting out of this one.
No, you're not getting out of that.
Is there a speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Your practice.
Okay, Roger. Roger, you have served well in the office of treasurer, which demands absolute integrity in financial and accounting skills. It is your role to deposit and disperse the funds of the club upon the direction of the board of directors. You'll also report on the club's finances at each board meeting. The club is again expressing their confidence in your good service by asking you to stay yet another year.
With same pay?
Same thing.
Same pay?
Same pay.
Same day, yeah.
We might hike it up a few cents. Do I do anything else?
Nope, shake his hand and we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're official.
I'm official.
You get to do the work now. I would now like to welcome Graham Honaker up to speak on some upcoming programs. Want to hand off to Graham presentation? Oh, hand off to Nancy.
It's an inside.
Graham, they're also on the screen if it helps you.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't see him here. Good afternoon, everybody. Great crowd here. It's great to see 4 tables here today, so let's keep up the attendance. We've got we've got a great program today, but more coming, and let's continue to support those programs. But again, I would say email, call somebody that you haven't heard from a while and encourage them to join us. So programs, we've got a special one coming up via Zoom on November the 3rd. So Kirsten Grind is the author of a brand new book on Tony Hsieh. Who is Tony Hsieh? He was an entrepreneurial genius. He was the founder of Zappos shoes, and unfortunately had a real decline last year in his mid-40s, mental illness, and died. And she's written a great book. So we're gonna be Zooming with her from San Francisco about the book and talking about Tony Hsieh, and there'll be some business weaved in, but really it'll be about mental health, mental illness, and how it can affect the most successful, the most wealthy people in our society. So really hope you'll join that, and hope you'll invite somebody to join the Zoom as well. Again, when we get these folks, Roger, we're paying her the same as we pay you, but she's probably charging people when she's going out on the speaking tour, so we're getting her for I'll just say it, nothing. So please join. My good friend Ted Green, I know some of you have seen it. He's got a new documentary out on Carl Erskine, the Anderson, Indiana native, who was a great pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers, who is still with us, by the way. He's 96 years old. Got a fantastic new film on Carl Erskine. He's going to be speaking here. We have the football awards coming up. Pam Norman, I think oftentimes we don't get the folks from headquarters down here enough to remind us of our mission. Pam, Butler graduate, by the way, will be coming in on December the 8th. We'll have Michael McPhillip, Midtown Indy, coming. Candle lighting in January. Is it Inez? Inez Evans from Indigo, and then Andy Mallon from the Capital Improvement Fund or Board, and Fred Payne from the United Way. So again, I say this with humility. I look at other clubs, what they're doing, who they're bringing in. Especially compared to Rotary, who's got nothing on us in terms of their programming. Let's not take it for granted. Let's support these programs, and look forward to seeing you next week. I am now going to turn it over to Nancy Ulrichs for a special presentation.
Thank you.
One of the most important things that we do are our foundation grants. And typically, each year we give more than $25,000 away in different foundation grants. I'm pleased to welcome Anthony Conlon. Come on up. And he's a grant compliance specialist with Edna Martin. And Maggie Gagline, Vice President of Development and Systems Management, to provide a recap on the $2,500 grant that they received for their youth leadership program and to tell us a little bit about Edna Martin Christian Center. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. As Nancy said, I'm Maggie Gagline. I've been at Edna Martin since 2016. I started out in the youth department, picking up kids for after-school programming and all over the Near East Side. And then my boss discovered I knew how to write grants, and so I've been stuck at a desk ever since, sadly. But I wanted to just share. Anthony gets to do the fun stuff and work with the kids, but I wanted to give you just a real quick idea of what Edna Martin does and how long we've been around. We are a full-service community center that got incorporated back in 1941. Edna Martin was a real person. She actually lived on the west side and wanted to be an African missionary and didn't get any farther than the east side. But she saw a need in the community and got to working with little ones after school. Rented a one-room apartment for $14 a month, and the rest is history. So pretty quickly she realized that you can't just work with kids, you have to work with the family as a whole in order to make a big impact. And so by the mid-50s, she was working with adults as well as kids, and we've kind of taken that legacy from there. Martindale Brightwood, just a hop, skip, and a jump in that direction. We are just east of the Monon Trail, south of 30th, and then Mass Ave, kind of on a diagonal to the south over to Sherman on the far east. Oh, we do all kinds of things. I wanted to give you some kind of general slides. The neighborhood is currently engaged in quality of life planning to guide our work. And this is Edna Martin's full continuum of services. So right now you could enter our programming at the age of 6 weeks or be in your 90s in our seniors department. With the transition of 2020, we doubled the number of people we serve. So we went from about 3,000 individuals to 6,100. Our grants went from 35 to 70. It was a huge year for us to try and figure out how to mobilize and take care of those in the greatest need in our community. But the youth side of this has been a constant throughout. So I'm gonna step aside and let Anthony tell you a little bit about our youth leadership program. Yeah, you just wave at me.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is afternoon. Yeah, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anthony Conley. I'm the Grants Compliance Specialist at Edna Martin Christian Center. Been there a little over a year, and it's been a very rewarding year for me, particularly working to try to secure funds for our youth programming. Edna Martin believes that youth programs are front-end programs. And what we mean by that is, I used to work with a juvenile justice judge in another life in Delaware County, Indiana. And whenever we would talk to funders, he would say, look, he was a gruff kind of guy, but he cared about kids. And he would say, you're gonna pay me on the front end or you're gonna pay me on the back end. The front end, structured recreational and educational programs and services for young people to keep them away from delinquent activity. These are anti-delinquency programs. They're cheaper than the back end, which is court costs, psychological fees, restitution fees, other fees that we may not even know about that the justice system has for young people. We try to avoid that by giving our young people a safe space, caring adults who are dedicated and trained to help our young people grow into mature, responsible, and committed adults. Young adults who are active in the communities where they live. Our Youth Leadership Council helps create those young people. This Youth Leadership Council consists of about 15 to 20 young people, and their primary job is to serve as mentors for the elementary and middle school students we serve at Edna Martin Christian Center. This is important because it shows the young people, or they model for young people, or the elementary school children, of what they will ultimately grow into as they move through adolescence and young adulthood. We make sure that these attendees or participants in our program are trained. So they go through all different kinds of training, ranging from CPR and health and safety training, classroom and behavioral management, and also ethics training as well. They also serve as extra staff, if you will, for our main staff when it comes to executing our programs. And this may be educational tutoring, helping our main staff on field trips to the Children's Museum, Indiana State Library, other areas around Indianapolis, and the big one for the kids at the end of the summer, their camping trip to Indiana Creek. And it's really striking when you see young people who go camping and sleep outside for the first time. Now, I'm one of those young people who, you told to go out and camp out on Friday night sometimes. And we would get blankets and sticks and bricks and make a tent and maraud around through the neighborhood and the alleys, until a dog chases, it was time to go home. I got chased many times. That's why I try to watch out for them now. But, really. But, so in participating in these kind of activities, again, helps our young people understand the importance of service and also giving to the community. We also have a service learning component to our youth programming and a volunteer element, which encourages almost requires them to be involved, actively involved in their local communities. Life is an active exercise, isn't it? You just don't sit around and let other people do the things and then complain about what other people are doing. We want our young people to be active and understand that they have a role and a responsibility to be at the table and make decisions that get things done. And then finally, we want to help them really grow into, as far as this responsible adults are concerned, to really highlight executing tasks by a deadline. I'm still working on that. With limited supervision. Yeah, right. This is report season. And that, and so when they go to college, and hopefully they will, they have those skills. Look, I have a deadline, I have an assignment due. The instructor is not going to wake me up and ask me if I had a good breakfast, did I get to class, or anything like that. We want them to learn to be independent, but also understand that they operate within a group. So we thank Kiwanis for this generous gift to help us continue to serve young people at Edna Martin, which he's been doing, or the institution's been doing since 1941. Which of course is, I'm a history major, so dates always are important to me. And we know that's the year we enter World War II in there. So I had to put that in because just the history part. So, and thank you again for this generous gift.
And then we'll take a picture in a little bit, but we want it on video.
You can't change your number.
The clicker. Thank you.
All right, this is a real honor for me. We had Sam Smith speak here about 4 or 5 years ago. And to refresh you, for some of those of you who don't know, and I'll tell the personal story real quick. When I first came to Butler about 10 years ago to interview for the job, which somehow they gave me, which some people are still curious about. When I was driving onto campus, I saw this big hulking figure, 6'11" guy wearing his Butler varsity jacket, and his name was Andrew Smith. And he played for us. He played for the 2 Final Four teams for Butler. He was an academic All-American, really the embodiment of what you would consider a student athlete to be. And, a reminder of how fleeting life is. A year and a half after he graduated from Butler, at the age of 25, the age of 24, he contracted leukemia. And a year later, he passed away. And his widow, Sam Smith, in his memory, started Project 44, which the goal is to promote bone marrow registry, bone marrow transplants, and ultimately to save 44 lives through bone marrow transplants. I was the very first board member. Sam asked me 6 years ago, and I was like, I'm in. What do you need me to do? And there are a couple things in life I'm passionate about. one being Kiwanis. Right there is Project 44. The organization means a lot to me because of my connection with Sam. And the organization has grown, and we are trying to move it to a more national platform. And so about 7 months ago, we decided we need an individual who can take us there. We need to hire a full-time executive director who will get us there. And we had a number of great applicants, but the Drew Tower is the gentleman that stood out. And I'm going to embarrass him, but I've been a part of a lot of hiring decisions, conversations. He's the best hire I've been a part of, and he's only been with us a few months. What he's accomplished in just a couple of months is more than we've been able to do in 6 years. From getting the name out there to registry drives to now we're getting a lot of new schools, Big Ten schools interested in what we're doing. And so it's an honor having him here today. I'm going to bring him up, but just a couple things about Drew. He's the new executive director of Project 44. His passion and drive to help lead Project 44 is one which is personal. He was diagnosed with a rare blood disorder as a child and survived with the help of exceptional care from the doctors at Riley Children's Hospital. His passion is to lead and serve people and aligns with the mission of Project 44, to save lives through bone marrow donation through awareness, education, and advocacy for bone marrow registry. This is the amazing thing, and somebody asked me about this yesterday. Drew has a full-time job, and it's a big one. He's the athletic director at Brownsburg High School, which is no small high school. And I actually had a conversation with a mutual friend of ours 2 days ago and said, how does he do it? And I said, he does it because he's a really passionate guy. And my belief is if you're passionate about something, you will find time to do it. So he has, not only as a father, husband, he has 2 jobs that he's fulfilling. But he serves as the director at Brownsburg High School. He also serves on the board of the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. It's a real honor to introduce you to the Executive Director of Project 44, Mr. Drew Tower.
All right. I'm not used to using a microphone, so can you hear me back there? Okay, that's excellent. I don't do well behind podiums because I'll start moving around, so then I start moving the podium around, and that's never good for places like this. So I'm thankful for Kiwanis for having me. Greatly appreciate that. To Trina, to Graham, for Kelly, for all of their help just to get this all set up. So grateful to be here. When in my day job and when I was at the office this morning, it's over on the west side at Brownsburg High School. Thankful to serve as the athletic director there. I'm in my 4th year now. You talked about the Marion County football banquet or something. We have a pretty big game coming up tomorrow as we start playoffs. The IHSA, we go to Ben Davis, kind of a rival. It's never truly gone well for Brownsburg when we're playing the Giants. So we have a better ranking, which never means a good thing for us either. And so we're hoping to have a big win tomorrow night. So just appreciate the opportunity from Graham, honestly, just to be able to serve in this capacity with a great organization. And I'm not a Butler grad. I didn't graduate from Butler. I graduated from Taylor University. I played college basketball there. But I had 2 close friends who I played high school basketball with at Newcastle, who went to 2 Final Fours with Andrew, and Zach Hahn and Chase DeGaulle. And so relationships have always been that driver for me, whether it's in athletics or it's with Project 44, if it's hoping to get to know you all after this. That's really been the driver in service and in leadership. And really a lot of people now in this day and age in 2022, they're leading for a lot of different reasons, but we find that it's a lot of self-serving stuff. And I'm a teacher, my mom was a teacher, and it's just through education and coaching, I just think we're better off serving others. And I think that's what Project 44, and it's an amazing board. He said a lot of nice things about me. I came into a great situation, honestly. And you're gonna hear from Samantha Smith via video, hopefully, and there were just amazing things that they were able to do, and I'm so fortunate just to be another member of that team. So through this presentation, hopefully if we can get this to work, a little bit of a video clip. I think he kind of alluded to where we've been. but I think ESPN did this really well back in 2018, and Tom Rinaldi with ESPN can say it way better than I can. And so I just want to show you a little clip.
When Andrew first came to Butler, he was all of the qualities that everybody here has talked about. He was caring, he was kind, he was intelligent, he was tough-minded. He tried to help everybody else live a little bit better. And he taught us all how to prepare well for our time. You did well, big fella.
Following Andrew's wishes, all attending the funeral were asked to do something more than mourn.
We very non-traditionally held a bone marrow drive at Andrew's celebration of life service. This was just one way that I could try and make sure that there wasn't so much lost, right? That there was still going to be a piece of Andrew somewhere.
More than 100 signed up as potential bone marrow donors. The idea would eventually grow into Project 44, a donor initiative to honor Andrew. Less than 3 months later, Sam got a call from one of Andrew's old teammates.
My phone goes off and I see Chase, is calling. And he said, Sam, I'm a match for a little boy. I had signed up at Andrew's funeral service.
The match was Chase Stigall, a guard who'd started alongside Andrew in the 2011 national title game, a teammate from both Final Fours.
So Andrew's funeral, there's the first drive. And this drive just takes a cheek swab, and you put it into an envelope and you mail it to Be the Match, and that's the big parent company in the country and worldwide now that has all these bone marrow matches and connect you with doctors and medical professionals, and they save lives that way. And bone marrow, honestly, is kind of an old terminology now because bone marrow has that negative connotation with it, that it's going to be painful, and it's not. This is an easy process. We just had someone with an amazing story who was a Butler grad who actually was one of my interns at Brownsburg in the athletic department, and he said it was just in my arm, it was like donating blood, and he saved a life because of that. And so through stem cells, through bone marrow, whatever that terminology is, we did it at the first drive, which was at Andrew's funeral. That was his teammate that just happened to be someone who won a state championship with me at Newcastle and Chase. And it's just like, you cannot write this story any better. And so I think Samantha is currently in Texas. She's got a beautiful new family. She's the driver. She's the face of this organization. There is no doubt. I'm happy to serve in a capacity where I'm more behind the scenes. I'm able to help, kind of create the runway for the plane to take off, I hope. And so our mission has changed. It started with saving 44 lives through bone marrow donation, and we're just trying to save as many lives as possible. And how we do that is through awareness, through education, and through advocacy. And I'll take you through how we kind of accomplish those things. But really, what I talked about with leadership, no matter what role you're in, you're here because you care about people, you care about service. Kiwanis has always stood for that. But you're a leader in your own right, somewhere in your own environment, in your own space. And I think as a leader, it's really about impact and influence. I think that's what we all are driven to do, and with the people around us. And so that impact started with Andrew on the floor. You could see his passion when he played. He was a big guy. That's why they called him Moose. Through Samantha after his passing and her ability to speak and engage and just her drive, she's coming right out of college. Those are always hard years for people to figure out what they want to do, and she chooses this path, and it's saved so many lives already. And then I think through people like Chase, the power of athletics, the power of a team, I think just what that speaks to, and Chase's ability to understand that his role as a college basketball player who was in a pretty big light in 2 Final Fours, that he has an impact, that he has a role, that he can, just the stance that he can take as a leader. Our vision is to raise awareness for the Bone Marrow Registry, remove barriers through legislation, which I'm really excited to share updates on today, and champion the Bone Marrow Registry through drives and through different events. partnerships that we have had previously and that we're excited about. There's this space in college athletics now that they're still figuring out, even as of yesterday, name, image, and likeness. And so NIL is what you hear a lot of in college athletics now. It's about getting players more opportunities. I think it's a really positive thing. Something that has been awesome has been an organization called All Good Dogs. And it's through, not directly through Butler University, but it's an exterior non-for-profit that's helping Butler athletes, not just in men's basketball, but across the entire athletic department. We're fortunate as a non-for-profit to kind of have a partnership with All Good Dogs through the men's basketball program to start, because we thought that was fitting. And we're partnering with Chuck Harris. Chuck was as a freshman, comes into Butler and is on the all-freshman Big East team. He's led them in scoring the last 2 seasons. We expect Chuck to have one of the best seasons he's ever had. Tip-off dinner last night is at Hinkle. It's always a well-attended event. Graham, I know, was there. And one thing that Chuck wants to talk about, because of his partnership with us now, he didn't play with Andrew, that's been 10 years now, was Project 44. And so I think something that's valuable, not only for us, because I think our goal is to get as many people within kind of 18 to 25 to join the registry. 18 to 25-year-olds, when I go to a campus or a game, I'm younger, but I'm still, I'm not that age. They don't want to talk to me. They have no idea who I am. They would love to talk to Chuck. And so Chuck has been an advocate for us from the get-go. He's been amazing. You can kind of see a picture. He and I, that's at the Indy 11 game. Neither one of us are soccer people, but we know Indy loves the Indy 11. And so an awesome opportunity for us to partner with a local professional sports organization. Some stuff on the big board, our text code, how to join the registry, and Chuck is there and has the game ball, and just an awesome partnership for us through All Good Dogs and Chuck Harris. You all know Butler Blue, you have to, and so I think we're on Blue 4.
He's
now,
visited
right?
here. He's visited the
That's
clubs.
awesome. I love that. And so I'm sure we gave him a good meal, would be my guess. So Blue is actually, when we started, and this would have been Blue 3, was a national brand ambassador for the Be the Match Bone Marrow Registry. And so we want to continue to leverage that. Evan Krause, who is his handler, was a Brownsburg High School graduate. I knew his tennis coach really well now. Evan is just awesome, works for Butler University, but Evan has been passionate about that. We stuck our pin on Blue's uniform, so we had the logo on it at one of the football games earlier this season. So thankful for that partnership. And then just outside of Butler basketball, Butler's always home for this non-for-profit. We don't have any official ties, but Butler's always been home, and it makes the most sense. And so we've tried to expand outside of just the basketball scene. And so this fall we were at football games, volleyball, men's and women's soccer. We were at homecoming just to do some different things across all of athletics to reach different groups of people for that education and advocacy piece across campus. Some of the events that we've been excited about as we hit the ground running. The Indy Indians had us kind of towards the end of the season or end of the summer. And you can see Matt Howard is in the picture, who famous Butler basketball, just inducted into the Hall of Fame. Some of our board members and some newer friends brought us onto the field. We got to do Friday night fireworks. Matt's little guy's 4-year-old got to set the fireworks off, which was awesome for him. But as everybody's watching that with 8,000 people at Victory Field, they get to see us on the video board with our mission, with the text code, and it's another piece and layer of that advocacy within the Indianapolis community. You can kind of see an example of what it looks like when we're somewhere. You can see our table, our branding. And again, when we're trying to connect with people, we want them to join the registry then. We want to educate them as much as possible what this means when you might get the call if you are a match with somebody. But it's just a couple cheek swabs. We help you. We put it in this and we mail it out for you. We want to make it real easy for people. But especially in the world, we're semi-post-COVID right now, and where we're sticking things up our noses, we always tell people this is so much better. And so, swabbing your cheek a little bit. I just tested our 1-year-old, Bo, and stuck the thing up his nose. I mean, the guy was ready to kill me. So this is painless. This is so much better. So again, I think there's a lot out there, whether we know or we don't know. I think there's a lot of misinformation about what this actually takes, what this entails. And so it's the first thing I did when I got on. I texted our code when I got the job. It was the first step I took, was to join the Bone Marrow Registry. So that's really our goal. Engagement just through events. Samantha is going to continue to be at the face of this organization, and we're going to get her back, whether it's through video or whether it's in person, just to engage with the fans as much as possible, because she is the face of the organization. And then an equity piece, and this is really interesting, and I think it's really important, especially in today's world. As Sam and Andrew is fighting this horrible disease, Andrew found a match actually very quickly through this process, and it didn't take, and sometimes they don't, right? But what he found out was, as Sam, who was not a white individual, would not have the same opportunity because of the inequity in the bone marrow registry. And so one of our huge goals is to get into our city as much as possible and to connect with different people and to diversify the bone marrow registry. And so we think basketball continues to be a huge piece of our story and our mission. We think we can leverage that with that goal as well. So, but something I think that is an important piece that continues to be at the forefront of our mission and our vision. Legislation, we are getting ready to hit session here in Indianapolis. And so last year we were fortunate. I obviously had nothing to do with this. Senate Bill 398, which was a bill that Senator Taylor brought forward, and it's in the may state, and we're working to get it to a shall state and phase. And what it is to get more information on the Department of Health website for the bone marrow registry and what that means. And through Be the Match, Project 44 is helping to be the driver for that as we head into this session in January. So working with some good friends downtown with Senator Taylor and one of our board members, and Adam Krupp, to be able to get that done. And so when we start putting things like this on social media, or you hear people talking about this, or you know someone who's going to have the ability to make a decision or vote like this, we want you to be educated on that. And so 398, it's not something that should be huge. It's not divisive. We love that. We think it's informational, but it has huge impact, and we're going to put Indiana data on the website. It's not going to be global data. It's not going to be national data. It's going to be about, this is what the registry looks like in Indiana, and this is more education so we can help people join the registry easier. As we talk about focusing on impact, obviously Butler is home. It's been really important to this board, this organization. You know, we're not here without Butler, and so we'll continue to have a strong presence there. But as we have conversations every month, we talk about the biggest goal is to get as many people as possible, and if we're only working with Butler, we're going to continue to hit the same clientele in the same environment every single time. And so we've been fortunate to be in Indianapolis, which has just a great community, a great city. And so the Indy Indians, the Indy 11, we've already been through. Next Saturday, we'll be with the Indy Fuel. And so I don't know if we have Indy Fuel fans at all. Hockey, and so I'm a basketball person, so I don't understand hockey as much, but I do understand that my 4-year-old loves it. He thinks it's the greatest thing. In the adult world, we call it fighting, so it's blood and beer. So we think that, that's always fun for guys to go watch. So, but the Indy Fuel is going to allow us to partner with them in a non-for-profit space, and you can come and buy a hockey puck and throw it out, and all the money goes back to Project 44. And so just another great community partner, just like the Indiana Pacers. And so again, Chuck Lofton, who you all know, and we're glad. Chuck's a Taylor grad. I've known Chuck for a long time now, but Chuck has sponsored this, does so many good things in the community, other than deliver us the weather. So he has Chuck a puck, and so his head's on it. And so we're excited next Saturday to be able to deliver that and have volunteers and connect with people on the concourse. And so next Saturday, if you're available, spread the word. We'd love to come out, come say something to me. And then, if you've got kiddos, they want to chuck the thing onto the ice. It's pretty fun. So, and as we grow out of campus, we use basketball. College hoop season is upon us. Butler's getting ready to ramp up, but so is everybody else in the country. And so, in leadership, and especially in coaching, there's these coaching trees, and we've got coaches all over the place that were at Butler that know this story, that want to continue to partner with us. And so, as we cast this huge net, You'll see kind of a schedule come out with what we call an arena tour. And so the first thing, one of the first regular season games is through the Gavitt games. That's the Big East and the Big Ten Challenge. And Butler is traveling to Penn State on Monday, November 14th. The head coach at Penn State is Micah Shrewsbury. Micah came to Penn State from the Celtics, where he coached for Brad Stevens. Before that, he was at Butler. He was an assistant coach with the 2 Final Four runs. He was an assistant coach for Andrew. And we're just fortunate to have a board, or myself, with good connections to different people. It was a really easy call to Micah, and he said, yeah, let's partner with you. Let's do the t-shirts on our kids. Let's have our coaches wear them. It'll be on national TV through Fox Sports. Let's just blow it up right from the get-go and roll this thing out the right way. And so, again, just some of these stories, the world is big, but yet it's so small, and we know that. And so something that we're really excited about, that I feel support from the board, that we can go do something like that and be really effective in a different arena that's not Hinkle Fieldhouse. Graham alluded to this, but just being in Big Ten country, really, we're excited to partner with some different teams, get into some different arenas. Again, we just have connections or coaches that have been tied back to our story and that powerful story in one way or the other. And so just a few things, and we have some more announcements to come out as schedules have started to been released. So Penn State versus Butler in December, we'll hit Nebraska at Indiana at Assembly Hall. Grambling State will be at Vanderbilt. We'll go down to Nashville. Middle Tennessee goes to Belmont. That's the next day in Nashville. Be back at Hinkle. We call that a home game now. So we'll be at home as Butler takes on Creighton, which is always a Big East Conference game. And then we head to Mackey Arena for our Purdue fans, and Penn State then will be there. And so this is just a small snapshot of what we hope continues to grow this season in the Big Ten and also the Big East. And so taking the show on the road, if you will, but I think it just has that powerful message when we're on a big board and we've got our text code with how to join the registry with a huge student section, and we can connect with the teams before the game starts, and something that I think is going to be really special for our mission. So if this will work, if you better hear it, we have a message from the founder of the organization, Samantha Smith.
Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for spending some time out of your day supporting Project 44. I'm so glad that you guys have gotten to hear from Drew, meet Drew, and I'm sure you guys love him just as much as we do. We feel so fortunate to have him on board and at the helm. You know, to be honest, I don't know that I ever envisioned Project 44 getting to the place that we are now, that we are needing an executive director, that we are needing this big campus-wide effort to support the things that we're doing, that we need this board that is working and working towards all of our goals together. I don't know that I ever envisioned it going there. And I don't know that I could say what I thought it was going to be, other than something that would make Andrew proud and something that would just encompass his heart and his legacy. And his heart is and has always been and always will be our compass. And I just hope that you guys can continue to support us in these big goals that ultimately, again, we're just Andrew's heart to help people and to just lessen the pain for a lot of folks going through an already difficult battle. So again, I just thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and we look forward to your support. You know, we need it. As you've heard some of our goals today, you'll know that we need volunteers, we need monetary donations, we need time, all of the things. But we know our goals are big, but we know we can get them done, but we can't get them done without you. So thank you guys so much for spending some time with us today, and I look forward to seeing you guys around Hinkle.
Yeah, and Sam's amazing. Again, just her work, she's in Texas, forever away, and still able to have just a huge impact, and her ability to speak to people and connect with that story is going to be our most powerful move as an organization moving forward. Just to close, just a few things. Again, chasing impact over everything and influence as a leader. I think that's whether it was Bone Marrow or again, the organization that was up here, just what an awesome story to be able to tell, affecting the youth in Indianapolis and putting them in a position. It's all the same thing. And so for us, how you can help us, the bone marrow registry is open from the ages of 18 to 40. And so when I scan the room, my guess is we have a lot of people who are, we call it overqualified. You're overqualified. You have too much experience for this position. And that's how the 33-year-old lets people down nicely. Whenever I connect with them in person, I say, I need to talk to your kids or your grandkids. But to join the registry, you text the word Andrew to 61474, and that pulls up the Be the Match link. You hit that on your phone. In a few minutes, you answer a couple questions, and you're in. And then they can send you a cheek swab in the mail. Or if you're with us, we have you do it, and we have 1 million cheek swabs that we just, that kind of thing. So that's always our biggest sell. Volunteer to co-host a drive or come with us to an event. If you follow us at Join Project 44 on any of the social media channels, project44.org, our website, we're always blasting out what events we have coming up as we kind of approach 2 weeks within those. But we want to work with you. Like if you have a business or anything like that, we need volunteers. We want to partner with you in any way. Before you go, and one thing I'll talk about is we have sponsorship opportunities as well that Graham is going to pass out. And for us, in a non-for-profit, you operate just like a small business, right? Like you're going to raise all of your funds. For us to be able to reach these amazing goals, to be able to get into events, it does cost money. It costs money for us to have those opportunities to get in front of an arena, to do those things, and then with marketing materials and all of it to get people into the registry to save lives, just like we wanted to save Andrew's. And so just like Chase was able to save Deegan Scott's. And so coming around are ways that you, or if you would like to pass along to somebody else, ways that you are able to help our organization financially as well. And it has some good information that you can take from some of the things that I talked about today. One way I want to close, and I think this is fitting, it's kind of the end of that video, how this story all wrapped up when we started, where we were at, and what happened as a result of that drive and what we want to continue to have.
Welcome.
Hi, buddy.
In little Deegan, it is every bit Chase's marrow running through his bones, but it is the heart of Andrew running through his blood. Just seeing the courage and the fun and just carelessness of being a little boy, like those are just things that I love seeing. Because sometimes I would see those things in Andrew. There's so much beauty in seeing this little boy just being a little boy.
In one's body, in another's spirit, in this place, they are forever connected. The memory of the big man and the life of the little boy.
Deegan Scott was a little guy in Ohio. Chase Segal was this big college basketball figure. It doesn't happen without this organization. It doesn't happen. Deegan was 4. He's now getting ready to celebrate his 8th birthday, which is awesome. I have a 4-year-old at home. I can't watch that and not think about that. And this horrible disease affects everybody. When I was a little guy and I was 5, I was a year older than Deegan, my parents are taking me to Riley to get the exact same procedure. Now it's changed and it's better, right? But I'm the one receiving the bone marrow donation, and I'm 33 and haven't looked back since. And so it's powerful. It's the ability to have the most life-changing impact that myself, our very successful board members, can have in our lives. And so we think it's important to us. We want it to be important to you, to people that you connect with. We hope you'll partner with us in one way or another. But again, I appreciate the time for coming in, listening to me, for Graham and for Trina, for all of their help. So I appreciate it. If you have questions, I'd love to connect with you afterward. Have a great day. Thank you. Yeah. Stay up here. Okay.
So Drew, thank you so much for sharing your story and the story of Project 44. I get choked up. Oh, Graham, these are for you. In appreciation for you sharing your time with us today, we are making a donation in your name to the Equitable Food Access in Indianapolis Neighborhoods Initiative. It's a mouthful, but we hope that they'll also provide a mouthful. They're designed to develop community-driven plans and collaboration to build a more equitable and sustainable food system in our city. So thank you again so very much.
Stay up here.
Wow.
I'm gonna have him.
You have to do everything today.
I'm gonna have him draw. Draw it.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay, so again,
I can do this.
You can do this, I believe in you.
I don't want to get blamed. So this is for 2 tickets to a Butler game, along with the behind-the-scenes tour, which is pretty awesome, I have to say, of Hinkle Fieldhouse. We're going down into the bowels of Hinkle, and trust me, it smells like 1928. So whoever wins this, you will contact me. I would recommend you pick a game soon, because it's amazing. I'm always very popular when basketball season starts. No one returns my calls in the summer, and then suddenly I get a call in mid-October. Hey, I know I haven't talked to you in ages, but anyway, I saw Thad Matas coming back. Can I get 6 tickets for the Villanova game? So my recommendation would be to call soon if you win this. So Drew, you have the honors here. Jeff Oates.
Jeff Oates.
We are adjourned.
Almost. So last week we had candy, today we have Butler tickets. You'll have to keep coming to see what else we have. Yes? Yes? Bring friends. With that, we are adjourned. We'll see you on Zoom next week and back in here in 2, I believe.